The Astros really need Cristian Javier to step up in a big way with the new ace and new arms. Pitching is the name of the game. They are looking to chase the fight.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. Thank you for making us part of the number one podcast network out there, Locked On. Thank you for making us the number one Astros podcast out there. Between Brett and I, we have over 18 years podcast experience, and we've been talking you through this whole offseason. And games are about to start tomorrow. We're all excited about to see what the new lineup's going to be, who's going to be in the new pitching rotation. So much going into 2026. But we asked the question, what happens if Cristian Javier struggles in 2026? What happens to the Astros season? And also, we saw some rumors about the Astros being interested in Michael Conforto. What does that mean for the young stars like Zach Cole, Cam Smith, and now Loperfito? What does that mean for them? And also, you got the new pitchers on the block. They went out to dinner. They're trying to bond. What does this mean for the team? So there's so much for us to discuss. And make sure you tune in to every Locked On Astros podcast. So, Brett, I'm excited. First game is tomorrow. I know Colton Gordon's on the mound, but what are you most excited about seeing in this game?
Well, it's just that it's baseball and they're actually playing a game. I mean, I think anything positive, a walk, a hit, an RBI, a strikeout, I'm not looking for the guys to burn the world down with their baseball performance and make the top 10 list on ESPN or MLB Network. Just want to see baseball, man. I mean, this is a season that I think that's going to be very fun, a season that's going to have many storylines. I think the AL West is going to be a fun ride. I think there's going to be a lot of competition, and the Astros squarely can put themselves at the top to regain control of the West, because right now the Mariners reign supreme. Yes.
So in the second segment, we'll talk about the lineup for the first game of the season because it was just released a little while ago. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, I do want to talk about Hunter Brown. I know Hunter Brown, he's almost going to be guaranteed for success in 2026, especially after finishing third in the Cy Young race. But what I want to do is focus on Cristian Javier. He's kind of an unknown. He came back from elbow surgery, Tommy John, and then having a bunch of setbacks. But he came back last year. He wasn't really nails last year. But if he comes back and if he succeeds in any form like he did in 2024, the Astros are going to be good. The Astros lost Framber Valdez, and I know it's only 2 out of 5 games, but last year with Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, there was at least 2 games that you felt good of every 5 games of possibly winning that game. And yes, you have a deeper rotation this year, but right now with all the unknowns, you don't really have a for sure guy. Yes, sure, Burrows is going to be good. Sure, Imai is probably going to be good. There's a whole bunch of, they should be good. But Cristian Javier has the most pedigree, the most success in the Astros uniform, and the Astros are relying on him. We'll use some of the quotes that they used. Actually, it's 2022 when he was really good. I said 2024. But is the season going to be basically a bust if he struggles? That's my point. I want to get your opinion real quick.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it all hinges on Cristian Javier because you do have Hunter Brown. I mean, he finished top 3 in the Cy Young this last year. And I mean, if Scooble's not in the American League or Crochet doesn't have the year he has, you're probably talking about the Cy Young winner for
Hey,
2025.
Brett, let's leave Hunter Brown out of this discussion because I think he's a given. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is with Hunter Brown in there as your ace, I think there's less pressure on Javier to perform. Now, if Javier comes out and performs like 2022, then I think you have a very talented 1-2 punch. Okay. Joe Espada even said it himself. If we see Javier, if we see the Javi that we saw in 22, it'll be huge for the club. If he fails, it will be a lot harder. It will be a lot more difficult. It will mean the other guys behind them, Imai, Arrighetti, Burrows, Alexander, Weiss, these guys are going to have to step up big time. You want your 1, 2, 3 guys to be surefire bets. And look, his velo has bounced back. He threw 6+ innings in 3 of his last 5 starts this past season. So that's good. He's saying he feels 100%. But to answer the question, because I'm trying to kind of avoid it because I don't like negatives, doesn't do well. If he does, quote unquote, fail, according to baseball standards, and not have a year that helps the Astros, I don't think they're done or they're cooked, as the kids would say. I think, though, it becomes a lot harder because he is one of the guys that the Astros clearly are counting on.
Yeah. So last year he had a 2-4 record with a 4.62 ERA, 34 strikeouts. He had a 1.27 WHIP. So if you're looking at what can he do, I would say that you need him to have a sub-4 ERA. The last time he had a sub-4 ERA was back in 2024. Granted, small sample size, only 7 games, 3.89. But back in 2022, he was 11-9, 2.54 ERA. He had 194 strikeouts that year in 148 innings. So his whip was just amazing. Everything about him was great. You thought that this was going to be a season. This was going to be one of your future aces. But unfortunately, it just kind of injuries kind of derailed his career. But he could still salvage this. And so I guess success, to answer your question, Brett, he's got to have a sub-4 ERA. I think that he's got to stay healthy. I think that's a lot of ifs and buts because other than Hunter Brown, I think we talked about this, nobody on the returning staff pitched more than 100 innings last year. So you've got to have some people eat up some innings. I know that Imai pitched a lot in Japan, but he still hasn't proved anything at the big league level. So I would say that you don't have that big guy that you could depend on every second day. It's going to hurt if the Astros don't have Cristian Javier with that success. So I guess it all depends. But if his velocity is up like it was in 2022 and we see the invisible, if we see him just feeling comfortable, you see the just him have confidence. And that's what we didn't really see at times. One game he'll be really good. The other game he would just struggle. And Brett, I think that's what you're saying is that the team, they don't need to rely on Hunter Brown 100%. They don't need to rely on Cristian Javier 100% because they have Hunter Brown, but it would be nice for him to just step up because you don't have to, then the other guys, they don't have as much pressure in their first season. And we're going to talk about the new guys in a little bit, but I just think that Javier could make things a lot easier if he becomes that number 2 that you can count on. That's my point.
Exactly. No, and I mean he's shown the propensity to have the big stuff, 194 strikeouts in 2022, a 0.95 whip in 2022, only 42 earned runs. In 2023, Eric, he had 159 strikeouts, but he gave up 82 earned runs. He had doubled that. And that was the most innings he had pitched in a season, 162. But the guy's 35 and 22 over his career. His whip as a career is 1.14 and 598 strikeouts. So this is a guy that has the stuff, that has the arsenal. And he just has to go out there. And your job is not to get outs. Your job is to throw strikes. And if he can throw strikes, and if he can command the zone and miss bats, then I think Cristian Javier is one of these more underrated number 2 guys, because there's probably not a whole lot of hopes on him with the struggles and the injuries he's had in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I think that especially with the depth they have, I know that there's other people that they can rely on. I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna just discard Javier, but let's say he struggles, they'll figure out a way to get to have success, and maybe the new pitching coach will be able to help figure out what he's missing. And so Javier's, I think that he's going to rebound. I know that they have faith in him. So, guys, next we'll talk about this Conforto and rumors. Any logic to this? And is that going to block Zach Cole, Loperfito, and Cam Smith? Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live in person? Well, FanDuel's giving you the chance to turn those dreams into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, and the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking the team to win everything or it's grabbing that conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick your cash, you could also send you to the finals. So visit FanDuel.com today to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen. If you like being an everydayer, if you like watching podcasts every day, why don't you join the Everydayers Club? For as little as $5 a month and $50 a year, you can get access to the Discord server, the access to the ad-free versions. For the all-access version, you can get access to the subtext where you can text Brett and I. You can access to the newsletter where after every podcast, we send out a newsletter with things that we talk about during the show, and also you get discounts to Locked On merch. So just go ahead and go to lockedonastros.supercast.com to go ahead and get the details or look in the show notes. So, Brett, I know that we just talked about Cristian Javier, but I want to switch a little bit of focus to the outfield. Most of the focus this year has been on the infield, but I know that Dana Brown has been adamant about adding a left-handed bat. I know Cavan Biggio could be one of those guys, but at the same time, he's not going to be ready for a while, so he may not be ready for opening day. So adding more lefties could be the answer. I know the Astros have been after Conforto for a while, but it doesn't really make sense to me. He's 32 years old. He is a lefty, but last year in 2024, he batted 199, 305, 333 with 12 home runs and 128 games. So if they go ahead and sign him, is he could be a bench player, or is he could be some guy that's going to be battling Cam Smith, Loperfito, and Zach Cole for playing time? Make it make sense, Brett, because it doesn't.
I can, Eric. I don't like this idea. I am 100% not on board. I think this is one of those cockamamie. Why would you go get this guy? He's 32. Yeah, but why? He sucked last year. He had negative WAR. I don't have time for a guy to come prove that he's still got viability in the major leagues. This isn't the project year. Like, we don't need this guy. We need Zach Cole to get reps. We need Cam Smith to get reps. That's what we need. We have an issue already with left field, assuming that they are going to have to play Jordan in left field because they are cementing Jose Altuve at second base, at least by word of mouth. So when I heard this, Eric, I was like, this sounds like a really bad experiment by the Wright brothers. Maybe one of the planes that didn't take off, maybe one of the planes that didn't help advance aviation. I think this is the Michael Conforto deal for me. I don't like it. This is just something like, look, I don't know, man. Honestly, full disclosure, Eric, sometimes I think things are said and I don't think there's a lot of thought put into it. Like, why would you go after Michael Conforto? Or why would you say we're not done? And then a week and a half later, oh, we're probably not going to trade Paredes. Like, what are we doing? Like, sometimes I think too much is spoken and more stuff needs to be held closer to the vest. I understand the left-handed bat. I understand when he has been good. He's an excellent major league player. But this isn't like come find yourself 2026 in Houston. That to me is the wrong move when you've got young guns. Look, talk to Zach Cole, impressed with his offseason prep. Talk to Cam Smith, impressed with his mindset. The kid says you should try out for your position every single season. It should be up for grabs every year. That's the dude I want on the field. You know what? Left-handed bats, if we need one, we'll get one at the trade deadline. But until then, let's just roll with the punches. Let's roll. We've got a crowded infield. Why make it a crowded outfield? You know what I'm saying? I understand maybe the veteran presence, but I'm just 100% not on board with him coming here. We got Trammell. Why is he on this team? If we have Conforto, why is he on this team? Why do we sign Biggio to? Because they're talking about a minor league deal with Conforto. I think he deserves more than a minor league deal because of one down season. Wouldn't you give this guy a major league deal?
No, not necessarily. He's kind of on the downside of his career. If you're asking Jesus Sanchez and Conforto, I think I'd rather have Jesus Sanchez. And it's kind of weird that they ran Sanchez out of town. But they did get Loperfito back. But it's just kind of weird that they would make this move. So I think what they're looking at is, you brought it up, the veteran presence. And he's somebody that probably, if the Astros signed him to a minor league deal and then he makes the team out of spring training, it's going to be as a veteran presence off the bench. And so that's something that you can have. He could be somebody that can be working with these young outfielders, because Zach Cole, he was a dynamic player when he came up. And one of the big knocks on him was his swing and miss. And maybe with more exposure, that was become a big strikeout issue. Yes, he had the home runs. Yes, he had the high batting average, OPS, but with the entire season, good pitchers are going to find a way to expose that. But he's been spending the entire offseason reworking his swing with the new hitting director, Dan Heinigen. He's fixed the direction issues. The barrel was veering towards right field, leaving him exposed on the outer half. And so he's been kind of working on this. And he said, Espada has said that performance in grapefruit, the spring training games will factor. So between Cam Smith, Loperfito, and Zach Cole, the spring training games do matter. So I think what Zach Cole has done is he's gone out there to win this. And so if the Astros do make the signing, it's a cheap way to bring in a veteran presence. And if he doesn't make the opening day roster, it was just a opportunity to add another piece to the puzzle.
So you're saying we should add him?
I'm not saying it's a terrible idea, as long as he doesn't come in thinking he's going to be the starting left fielder. If he's coming in with the idea that I'm going to make the team and be the starting left fielder, yes, it's a terrible idea.
Well, okay, look, obviously he's not coming in thinking he has anything cemented, right? He's not going to feel like, well, I'm sitting there looking, I'm sorry, I'm not up on my Conforto history. And if someone jumps in the comments and acts like they really know Conforto, okay, whatever. His best year was 2020. He batted .322. He only had 202 plate appearances. He did have 9 home runs. He had a solid year. He has hit as many as 33 home runs, 28 home runs. In those years, 257, 243. Not bad. His OPS was 857 in 2019. But his OPS has not been at 800 since 2020. So he's not been good. So, yeah, a minor league deal here, I stand corrected, is probably what you're going to get him on. But why? Why? We just brought in somebody else who's mid, and Cavan Biggio on a minor league deal. Wow. We don't need minor leaguers. Well, no, it's not blasphemy. Look, if Cavan Biggio name is if Cavan, I don't care if his last name is, I'm not going to go there. I don't care if his last name is, anyways. The bottom line is, I would love for Cavan Biggio to catch fire, and let's say the unfortunate event where someone goes down and he comes up and gets some spot starts and contributes. That would be a great story.
Right.
But Cavan Biggio has not been good. And he's got potential, but he's 30. So how much will he give you? That is the kind of low risk, high reward. I don't want a bunch of low risk, high reward guys. I think we've got enough of those.
Well, if you add them all together, they eventually add up to something good, right? So
hold on. Wait, is this like Moneyball? It's like we can replace Johnny Damon, but we can get 3 guys that equal his numbers. Yeah, we're not trying to be the A's of the Moneyball era. We're trying to, this Astros team is trying. Look, Joe Espada said we want to have a party at the end of the season. Joe Espada clearly believes they're going for the World Series, and Conforto does not get you there.
I'm going to close this conversation with Isaac Paredes. The Astros were after him for a while. Michael Conforto, this is a guy that they've been after for a while. Maybe it's a little bit too late. Jose Abreu was a guy that the Astros were after for a while. They even almost got him out of Cuba. So they eventually get their guy. Maybe it's a little bit too late, but we'll go ahead and talk about getting your guy next. We'll talk about the new pitchers on the block. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
Workplace chaos, nobody likes it. Deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing. Oh my gosh, there's that one position you have to fill. It's still open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire for the job, it's time for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you are not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And there's a stat that says it all. In the minute that we've been talking, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go and make us your first listen every day. And I know that I kind of teased this last segment, and I was supposed to talk about it last segment, but we have the opening day lineup for spring training right now. So Zach Cole is leading off. You have Matthews playing second base, hitting second. Cam Smith is playing right field, batting third. Joey Loperfito is in left field, batting fourth. Zach DeZenzo is playing first base. Then Whitcomb playing third base. Matt Bush, I believe his first name is the DH. Nick Allen is going to be the shortstop, and Cesar Salazar is going to be the catcher, batting ninth. So that is your opening day lineup for spring training behind Colton Gordon. So no surprises there. I don't think anybody besides Cole is likely going to be in the actual opening day lineup, right? You're muted.
There we go. Bush is sort of I think he's going to be a surprising story. I know that initially on paper, Walker Yannick is the guy that you think like makes it up to the big leagues first. But Bush is a kid that not just plays catcher, but also plays first. Eric, he's got that versatility. And I've had a couple of evaluators that I've talked to about this kid. And I reached out to Kenny from Astros Future. He's going to join us here in the next week or two. And we're going to examine some of these names of guys that we're going to see in spring training. And are there any surprises? Are there any guys that could sneak their way onto the major league roster? But you love this part of spring training because the guys are getting their shot. I mean, I love Zach Cole leading off. That fires me up. Did you see Kevin Alvarez hit 2 bombs on the backfields today? 18 years old. This kid's hit 310 in the Dominican Summer League. He's not going to see the major leagues this year, but super promising. Between him, Nayans, and others, the Astros have a bright future.
And I want to correct something. I said Matt Bush. He's actually a pitcher that doesn't play for the Houston Astros.
Not Matt Bush.
It's Will Bush.
Bush, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure. I just kind of went with it, sort of. I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I wasn't sure.
I know I've heard the name Matt Bush before. I knew
I didn't fully co-sign it.
Player,
but I didn't want to also be like, I don't know.
Yeah. So it is Will Bush. But I know that the Astros have a whole bunch of new pitchers on the block. And ever since I've been said that, I've been having that stupid summertime song by whatever it is. But New Kids on the Block had a bunch of hits, but Chinese food makes me sick in my head. And I can't get that out of my head. I forgot what LFO song, whatever it is. But the Astros do have a lot of new pitchers. They had to replace a whole bunch of pitchers for one guy for Palmer Valdez. You have Mike Burrows, you have Imai, you have Ryan Weiss, and they all basically got together over dinner. And it was a pretty cool experience. I know that all started when Weiss reached out to Imai because he knows what it's like to be a visitor in a foreign country. And so he kind of said, hey, I know you're trying to get settled in here. Why don't we go out to dinner? Of course, the translator went with him. And then they reached out to Burrows as well. And they all went out to dinner and just kind of bonded a little bit. And so it's good to see that this potential rotation went out and kind of bonded early in their Astros career.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a story that relates to that, Mike Stanton shares a story about Kaz Matsui when he first got with the Mets. He said, Brett, he was so lost. Like, he said there was a players only, it was like a Christmas gathering or some kind of holiday party. And he said he just did not fit in. He said, even with his interpreter there, and he said, sometimes these guys come over here and they just have a hard time fitting in. And the fact that Weiss and Imai connected and have bonded, Weiss said, look, I want to learn Japanese. I want to learn to be able to talk with him. Imai is already wants to learn English. And if you remember, Bregman, former Houston Astro, current Cub, him and Yuli Gurriel bonded. And Bregman is very fluent in Spanish. I mean, very fluent. He speaks Spanish very well. Japanese might be a little tougher because of the type of language that it is. And we hear Spanish a lot more commonly over here. I think Spanish is probably a little bit easier language to adapt to. But you know what? Kudos to these guys. And this is the kind of rotation that we had with Fromber and Javier and Luis Garcia and Jose Urquidy and all these guys that kind of bonded. They would all go watch each other. I think you're still going to have some of that camaraderie. And I think this is just icing on the cake for the Astros. I'm sure Joe Espada, I'm sure Jim Crane, and I'm sure Dana Brown were thrilled to hear this. I loved it. I saw the picture of them three. They're out there at West Palm. Very, very cool. The interpreter was even there eating dinner with them. And when Imai was asked what he ate, Weiss asked Imai, where do you want to go eat? Do you want Japanese cuisine or do you want American? He said, I want American. And so, Imai is trying to take in all the American culture he can. And apparently he's having a blast doing it.
Yeah. And so Mike Burrows has been a big eye opener during this, the early days of spring training. And I know that Espada said he's got a little bit of red arse in him, which I like a lot. And so this is a guy that came over from the Pirates, and the Pirates aren't known for their winning ways. And so he said everybody knew him over in Pittsburgh. It was kind of, he was comfortable over there, but that doesn't always mean good things. But over here, he said the relationship with winning here is different. We're going to win. And I like the fact that he's already recognized this. Like some teams, and I know that it's hard for fans to recognize this because we're so used to winning in Houston. But in other cities, they don't go into spring training and thinking, oh, you know what? We're going to win the World Series this year. But in Houston, most of the players come into the season thinking, you know what, we're probably going to maybe not win the World Series, but we're probably going to be World Series contenders. And the fact that Mike Burrows is seeing this and already without even games started, but he's already turning heads, and he wants to use his two-seamer a little bit more against righties to kind of close the gap on his splits and everything. So he's already working with the pitching staff, the analytics guys, and just trying to figure out what he can do to become a better pitcher.
No, and that is where I think these pitchers excel. And any pitcher that comes here, you absolutely know they're dialed in. Another thing that I've learned from Mike Stanton, a former pitcher, is, you can have paralysis by analysis. And one of the things that you and I have learned from the multiple interviews that we've done with pitchers is they get a ton of information, but the Astros don't cripple them with that information. They have them use the information that works the best. And so I look forward to seeing what they do and how their arsenals play in 2026.
So, guys, what do you think? Do you think that the Astros season is sink or swim based on Cristian Javier, or do you think the rest of the rotation based on the unknowns in Imai and Weiss and others? So go ahead and let us know in the comments, and thank you for making us your first listen. And we'll be back on Sunday to talk about Astros spring training, the first game, and more.
Go Stros.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.